the session of our Azure study series. I hope the previous sessions has been helpful and you've learned a lot. Today, we'll be talking about a topic called designing authentication and authorization solutions. And to take us on this topic, we have with us someone who is very knowledgeable in this area. She's um she's an experienced platform slash DevOps engineer, and she has good knowledge about DevOps, cloud computing, and management technologies. She's an MCT holder, and she loves to train a lot as well as gain more knowledge about them. She's very passionate about community building. And today, I'm sure you're wondering who is this person that we have here and will be teaching us. We have with us Catherine John, and she's going to be taking this session today. So I hope you're ready to learn. If you have any questions, you can put it in the chat session on the YouTube, and someone will be answering you. So let's get started. Hi, Katrin. Um, so we'll be getting Katrin now to come up. All right. Okay, so I have Katrin here, and she'll be taking over from me now.
Hi, Dami.
Hi. It's nice to
Hello,
have you.
everyone. Thank you. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
you're welcome.
Please, could you help me upload my slide? Could you help me? Yeah, please. I've uploaded it. Could you help me present it? Hello, everyone. How are we doing today? Saying hi from Nigeria to everyone from various places you're watching today. How are we today? And from Nigeria, Nigerians, I hope we're doing well, and I hope we've all casted our vote and everything is going on well. So while we are awaiting the result of our vote, let's quickly jump into our study series today, which is all about Azure identity management, Azure authorization, authentication, and authorization. We've been going through this series before, so this series kind of is a path for you to become Azure Solution Architect. And we've been going through the series. Today's series is the seventh series in the path of becoming an Azure Solution Architect. Hi, Tammy.
Hi, Katrin. So we're thinking that you can share the
Okay.
slides from your end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Okay, guys. So I have to share my slide. Tammy, kindly let me know if you can see my slide. Um, Let me
Okay.
share my screen.
Not
Yeah,
yet.
it's coming up, right?
All right.
Okay, can you see my screen, right?
Not yet.
What about now?
Mm, it's not coming up yet.
Let me stop and reshare again.
All right.
Okay. Hi guys, I'm so sorry. My screen is coming up. Yeah. Okay, so can you see my screen now? I'm about sharing. again.
Hey, Catherine. It's like we've lost Catherine. We'll just wait for her to come, please. All right, she's
Hi,
back.
I'm back. Oh yeah, sorry. So kindly confirm if you can see my screen.
Still waiting for it to show.
Are you seeing my screen? Because I'm sharing from my end. Okay.
No, 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 it's not showing up here.
Let me unshare and reshare again. I don't know why this is happening. I'm so sorry. I don't know why you guys can't see my screen.
Hey, Catherine, can you click on the plus button at your hand?
Yeah, I did and actually uploaded the file, but I don't know why you guys say you can't see it.
Hmm.
Oh. From my end, everything look Steve like I can't click on it and stop sharing. I'm sorry.
It shows no again. We're so sorry for the difficulties. Hopefully we'll start soon. Let's just try to get the presentation so that everyone can be carried along. Okay. Catherine, so if you click on the plus sign on your screen, there's an option to share the screen live instead of using an upload.
Okay. Could you guys see my screen now? I am presenting.
Okay. Let's see if it's gonna come up soon. Mm, it's not showing up yet.
Oh, okay. So sorry, you guys.
Welcome to the Pride of Symbols, a people driven by the passion for excellence and the courage to take on big challenges and see them through. With integrity of mind and systems, our words, structures, and processes are always dependable. We are proud of who we are, what we do, and what we stand for. Firm is our commitment to the vision to build a globally recognized distribution company and to become the key driver of trade revolution across Africa. We have been empowered to make products and services accessible, affordable, and usable across Africa by building an efficient distribution network and to remain the market benchmark for dynamism, efficiency, and competitiveness. We are rulers. We provide order. With confidence, enthusiasm, and wit we speak. The vulnerable and voiceless we empower. This is me. This is TD Africa. We rule. We conquer. We are Simba.
Hi, Dami. Can you see my screen now?
No, not yet, Catherine. Not yet.
What about now?
See. No, no. But maybe I could get your slide. So try to share it from my end.
Okay. Okay. Okay, could you just tell Tosi to give you the slide?
All right.
Okay. Why are you still trying to get the slide? I have tried to share my screen. Could you see it?
You have a learning goal, and we have just one job to help
If you
you
can click
achieve
on the
it
plus
and deliver
sign,
at your
the slides
convenience.
already
Learning right
uploaded here, and
starts
I
with
click
us
on
at
that. I don't
Ashem
know why
Academy. We are a learning
that's giving me
institute
issue.
in partnership with professional industry bodies like Microsoft, PECB, Pearsonville, and PSI, delivering quality training, ensuring your certification path in respective industries. Asham Academy has training specialists with extensive consulting experience as well as the expertise to address your specific
I'm so
needs and
sorry, guys.
preferences.
Please,
Our
we'll,
goal
we'll
is to
soon
deliver
fix this
training
issue.
that maximizes
Apologies.
return on people and infrastructure investments. We define success as having the right resources to skill you up to help you meet your desired goals. Our job at Asham Academy is to empower you to be successful at every stage of the learning journey, from training to certification to establishing professional credibility. As a certified learning partner and authorized testing center, our facility has proven to be one of the best in the country as we get to reach the needs of all ages, young, middle aged, and those in the advancing years, making learning simple and affordable. We care about your skill development, and without breaking the bank, we present you with great opportunities to showcase your competency and expertise in your area of specialty, aiding career advancement or personal goals tracking. Let's help you bridge that learning gap. All you have to do is take the next step to enroll in our courses today with prices that are easy on your wallets. Request access to our training calendar by emailing training@ashem.com, and you can also get the most of your learning investments by checking out our promotional offers here. offers.ashem.com/ms learning. You can call 0704 636 7151 or call 0704 576 9927. You can visit our head office at number 9 Ibikule Street off Abad Macaulay Way, Yaba, Lagos State.
Okay. Hi, Catherine.
Yeah,
So
I'm with
I
you.
think we have the presentation, and we're good. Okay. So I would like to apologize to everyone for starting this late, but we are sorted out now, and we can start. So, Catherine, just let me know when you want me to move the slide, and I will move it. And I think we can do this. Yeah. So let's get started.
Okay. Hi guys, once again, I'm sorry for the break in transmission. I'm so sorry. Once again, I welcome you to today's session, which we're going to talk about design, authorization, authentication, and authorization solution in Azure. As you know, this particular topic is for Azure 305. That means you're preparing for to become an Azure solution architect. Like we all know, once again, this is like an advanced class, like an advanced topic. Probably you coming here today, you listening to this topic today, it means you must have probably got to know about Azure, AZ900, Azure Fundamental, or Administrator, or any part of Azure. So we're just assuming you're already familiar with Azure. So it's going to be a bit high. Okay. Thank you once again and welcome to today's class. Hi, Dami. Could you move the slide? Okay, so into this topic, we're going to deep dive into designing identity and access management. We're going to talk about Azure Active Directory, Azure Active Directory B2B, B2C. We're going to talk about conditional access. We're going to know about how to design identity protection and access review, as well as service principle for applications and design for key votes. So this aspect of AZ300 25% to 30% shows in exam is like kind of a high part that takes the percentage is 25 to 30%. So you or at the end of the by the end of this class, I believe you should be able to familiarize yourself with Azure B2B, B2C, conditional access, identity protection, and all that. Um, Please, could you move the slide? Okay, so this topic happens to be a vital topic in any organization, in any organizations or company. We can't overemphasize about authentication and authorization. It is what we use daily in our daily activities within our organization and equally outside. Like we know, majority of some of us happens not to be working from the office. We can work from home. So usually before now, identity and access management was just based on within the architecture of your organization. Before, like for example, some companies, once you close from the office, you cannot access your company's services. You cannot do anything again. The only time you are allowed to use you can allow to access your company's services is when you're back to the office. As long as you're not within that building, that's within your company, you won't be able to access it. But now we have an advanced situation whereby no matter wherever you are, you could just access your company's services. And thank God for that's what bettered zero trust model guidelines. So zero trust model guidelines is all about you can't assume, you are meant to never trust, you always verify. So permit me to use a word like being like a doubting Thomas. When we talk about the zero trust model, looks like you're trying to be a doubting Thomas. No matter what you do, you have to verify. You cannot just assume, oh, because I'm in the workplace, I can actually sign in seamlessly, or because you've signed in before. There are some settings your admin would do. Probably let's just say in the next in like within five minutes, once you're not active on your laptop or on your computer, it goes off. These are the settings that do, and once it comes up, it will kind of and force you to sign in again. You This is where the zero trust comes in. It's not going to tell you, oh, because you have signed in once once today. As your laptop is logged out, you coming in, you can just come in without signing in. So every company is meant to kind of adopt the zero trust. The zero trust is going to, like, they are not that, we just have this policy of, it doesn't matter how many times you sign in. It doesn't matter that, okay, you're using the right credential. As long as you're being signed out, each time you are enforced to like sign in, the model is just the idea about the model is that never trust. You can never trust, always verify. You have to verify. You have to verify your identity each time. You have to verify your identity. So in guidelines to the trust model, for an employee and partner users and role, you could be like an employee to Microsoft, to any organization. You're still meant to verify your identity. And also, there could be trusted and compliant device. For example, you use, in terms of trusted and compliant device, we have device like iOS, Microsoft, your Windows, your laptop, your Mac OS, your Linux, your Windows, and all that. So no matter any device you're using, we are still saying you cannot just log in. You have to verify. So even if you are within the physical building or virtual building, you still need to verify. Um, as well as whether any or when whatever method of authentication you equally using, you're still meant to verify. So for you to for the verification to actually kind of for you to actually take place, for you to be really verified, or for you to be authorized, you must meet some conditions. So one of the conditions, once you meet the condition, for example, as an employee, you're an employee, you have the device that you're meant to use, and probably the location, either within your work or anywhere you're working from. Um, there is a condition you need to meet. If you meet that condition, for example, once you meet that condition, you'll be allowed to access the services or the platform you want to access. So what's kind of the condition could be uh, allowed or block access. We have limited access. These are the things you can go through. There are some companies that have this. Most companies have multi-factor authentication, and equally this policy of resetting your password every 3 months. I guess most company does that, resetting password every 3 months, and equally kind of block legacy authentication. So for the zero trust to really be effective, the conditions you need to meet, no matter you being an employee of any organization, or if you even if you're using their devices and all that, you will still need to like it is also being controlled by some policies like enforcing multi-factor, enforcing password reset, and having limited access. For some time, for if you put like three wrong password, you automatically log out. So you have to go and reset your password and all that. Could you please go to the next slide? Hi, Dami. Thank you. So, authentication and authorization kind of uses identity and access management. When you're talking about identity and access management, it's kind of a policy that is enforced for you to be able to verify who you are, and it's before you can access any of the services or platform in which you mean to. For you to have a seamless ride with identity and access management, there is this you have to it's ensure unified identity management. When we talk about unified identity management, it's like, okay, all your login, all your details, your location and all that should be in a centralized place. Let's say, for example, it should be in a centralized place. Then seamless user experience. When you're using identity and access management, remember that identity is you trying to identify who you are. That okay, this is me. What I could say, this is catering. Being catering is not enough. For example, if I'm to enter my company's my organization building, I can't just say okay because everybody knows me, I can easily walk in there. No, I have to like have um I have to have an object, something that could identify me. Yeah, my friends and colleagues could know that I am catering, but that is not enough for me to access the company's building. I have to have an object of something to identify me, and what I need to have is my ID card. I have to use my ID card to be able to kind of access my company. So in terms of this identity and access management, it kind of manages all your identity and in a centralized location, and it gives you this seamless user experience. For example, you don't have this issue of you when you log into your company's property. You don't have, for example, when you come to work, you log into your laptop, you don't have you wouldn't have this issue of okay, you log into 3 times and you're unable to log in. As long as you're logging in with the right credential, you will definitely get access. So using identity and access management gives you this seamless user experience. It's not like randomly today it works, tomorrow it doesn't work. It's a seamless process. It reduces and it increases productivity. So the for you, these are the stuff you're going to kind of assess. Once it gives you this seamless experience and all that, it's allowed by role-based access control. So it's usually kind of controlled by a role-based. When we mean role-based is like RBAC, that is role-based access control, which the policy is like giving access or giving control to somebody at a minimal level, like a least privilege. For example, if your job in an organization is just for you to operate like a virtual machine, you're meant to be given a virtual machine role, probably like a contributor. If yours is just to view, you're just meant to be given like a viewer or a reader role and all that. So you will need to be verified by conditional access. There are some conditions that needs to be put in place. For example, the location where you're logging in from, the device you're using, and all that. Then we have um, you have to monitor Azure AD identity protection. We have Azure AD identity protection, and it's equally needs to we have Azure AD access review. It's going to review your access before it's you fully given an access to a resources. So we're going to like look at the table you've seen, the ones that it's appropriate. So if you're talking about Azure AD, Azure Active Directory, when you feel you need Azure Active Directory, it means that you have to provide your identity and access management for your employees in a cloud or hybrid environment. So okay, when you need to consider using an Azure AD, the time you need to consider using an Azure AD is probably you are kind of trying to assess your organization, let's say property. You either want to use your organization property, you can use either via cloud or hybrid. So Azure AD gives you this opportunity to kind of give you this access of using both both your on-premises environment and in the cloud. So it integrates those two together for you. So whenever you need to like, if you're to use business to business, so business to business kind of gives you this collaboration. So this table is actually giving you a scenario of when to use each of these things. So when you need a situation where you need to collaborate with people, let's say there are lots of organizations that cooperate with other organizations, like vendors and all that. You could cooperate with your vendors, cooperate with your customers, you cooperate with your suppliers and all that. um you could cooperate your customers and all that. So when you need to cooperate with people, with vendors, with customers, sorry, with vendors, with your supplier, then Azure business to business is the best for you to use. Then when you need to kind of cooperate, like kind of control how users sign in into your services. For example, let's say you work with Jumia, and you want to like know how your customer, a Jumia customer, kind of assess your website. So this is where you need to use business to customers. So business to customer give you a platform whereby the customer can use their own authentication method to kind of like access your website. For example, if I want to shop with Jumia right now, um Jumia cannot say I have to I have to like have an active directory. I have to have a username from the organization before I kind of log into their website. No, with my own identity, with my username, I can log in into Jumia. So that is where the business to customer. It doesn't matter the identity you have, as long as you have your profile, you can seamlessly log into Jumia. Please, next slide. Hi, hi, Dami. Okay, guys. So now we're talking about when you need to use your Azure directory. So Azure directory. So whenever you kind of come into Azure, let's say you get your Office 365 package, it's kind of attached to a tenant, and a tenant is kind of sometimes interchangeably used with a directory. It creates a directory for you, like a domain name. For example, if you're working with Microsoft now, when you come in, when you're employed by Microsoft, they're going to give you like a credentials that needs to be probably your Peter. It will say Peter at Microsoft.com, um, John at Microsoft.com, Dami at Microsoft.com. That's your identity you use in logging into your environment. So it's kind of so when we want to talk about your Azure Active Directory, like I said, Active Directory is just like is a multi-tenant. Is a multi-tenant, a cloud-based directory where you can manage your identity and access. I could say like it's a multi-tenant for your cloud-based Azure for your cloud-based identity and access management service. So it gives you this centralized identity management. You can it's centralized in a way that with your ID, you can log into the Azure portal. You can log into, let's say, for example, your organization have like some applications. You can log into your VPN. You can log into your other applications that your company uses. You can use this. For example, is your company using Slide? If it's using Jira and all that, it's the same the same user, the same profile, the same access you sorry, let me say it, the same username you have, that is the same that you use in logging into your Microsoft, like let me say your Office 365, your inbox. It's the same thing you will use in logging into the Slack and all that. So they kind of have a centralized identity management, or and equally it's a single AD instance. So you can, if you have like an on-prem stuff, some companies kind of use hybrid. They have some applications that they use within their company that cannot be moved to the cloud. In that situation, We have an Azure AD Connect that will kind of allow you to be connected with your username, which you have that you're using in the cloud. You can equally use that username to actually connect to your on-prem environment. Um, 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 Dami, could you move to the next slide? Thank you. So this scenario is giving you when should you are kind of like a solution architect. You are already an experienced person. This is not Azure fundamental. This is not Azure administrator. You're already an experienced person, and you're meant to like design um you're meant to like design an application, or just you're just like an architect. All you do is designing let's say for example for example they could give you, okay, please design the situation whereby we want to collaborate with external people. So when you're hearing that, okay, you want to collaborate with external people, okay, we have this product and we want people, we want another vendor, we want to collaborate with another vendor. So what should come to your mind as an architect at that moment should be B2B. You have to design a B2B whereby your company and another company can collaborate together. And the B2B gives you this opportunity whereby you won't it's not going to reject their own identity because they are not having your company's domain. It's not going to like, okay, because you don't have a company domain, you'll be unable to access our resources and all that. With the B2B, it allows the vendor, the person, the organization you're collaborating with to use their own identity, their own domain name to access your own products and services, just like how you're accessing your own. I wish I could demonstrate this from Azure portal, but I'm not sharing my screen. So what you do in Azure B2B, what you do for you to successfully collaborate with other vendors, you send them a guest invite. So you send them a guest invite. Once they accept the guest invite with their own profile, their own domain name and all that, they will be able to access your or the application or whatever. So this is how it goes. You can see from excuse me. So you can see from the diagram, first of all, Azure Active Domain Service. You have your AD Connect kind of give you access to connect with your on-prem and your cloud. So the next thing you have to invite people, which is your guest user B2B. Once the person you're sending to have accepted the invite, the person can easily the external person, we call it external identity. So the external identity can seamlessly collaborate with you with no issue, despite the domain name. You could be from Microsoft and you can successfully collaborate with somebody that is coming from Google or AWS. You guys can seamlessly collaborate with each other. Thank you. Please, could you move to the next slide? So, in terms of Azure business to customer, as a solution architect, once you're designing B2C, when you're putting, for example, as a solution architect, maybe your company is trying to design a website or they're bringing out a product. While you're designing, they're telling you, okay, solution architect, please, this product we have, I want a situation whereby anybody from any part of the world should be able to access this product with their username, irrespective of their username, irrespective of their username or their domain, wherever they're coming from, they should be able to, they should successfully access the product or services your company is trying to put out to the world. So, looking at the diagram, we have Azure Directory Domain and Service. That is from you now. We have AD Connect. scrolling from you. We have Azure Identity, and we have external user, of course. So we have Azure Active Directory B2C tenants. So, for example, we have like an application. So, let's say your company design, maybe, for example, let me use that of Jumia because we are all familiar with Jumia. Let's say Jumia kind of decide to have an app now. What they'll need to consider customers that need to access this app. So they wouldn't say because the customer does not have their domain at jumia.com, they will not be able to access. This is where customer business to customer comes in, whereby irrespective of their username, they can access your app. They can access your app and do whatever they want to do. All they need is either they can access this through different profile. For example, you give them the option of accessing using their Facebook, or they could use their email address, or they could equally like using their email address by clicking through their email, or they could equally sign in by just putting a name or and any kind of email address, be it Gmail, be it Outlook, um whatever username they have, they can easily try to access your application seamlessly with no issue. Please, could you move to the next slide? Okay, so the next slide is conditional access. So for this is very, very vital. Yeah, conditional access. That's good. It's like you skip. Is Could you go back then? So conditional access is a conditions certain conditions you need to meet. You need to like have before you're able to kind of access an application. Some of these conditional access that I know most of us we kind of familiar with is MFA, multi-factor authentication. So, for example, most of us we no longer kind of work from home. We no longer kind of work from the office or work from home. So we could have like it could give a condition that you must be in a particular place. For example, okay, let's say your company encourages work from home, but the condition of you to work from home, they could put a location. They're like, okay, since your company is within Nigeria, you could work from home, you could use your laptop, you could use an IP within Nigeria for you to be able to access your company application. Some of the conditions could be okay, you must be within some group before you could access before you could be within some group. You could either be a user or you could be within some group before you can access your company's property. Another one could be the device. You must use a lot of companies use kind of they give their employer they give their staff they give their staff a laptop on device, either a laptop, they give their staff a laptop, a phone, and all that to be able to access. So some of this condition is that if you are not using the laptop or using the phone, there is no way you'll be able to access your company resources unless the condition is you are either some of the condition is either you're within a group, you are a pa- you have a you have first of all you have to be a user, and probably you could be within the group. And again, some of the condition could be the device you're using, which could be your laptop, your phone, whatever you're using, and the location, like I earlier said, your location. So if you don't meet all these criteria, the conditions will not be met, which will not allow you to access the application at that time. So, for example, let's say, okay, your company has kind of restricts. They believe that okay, you want to work from home, but as long as you're working from home, should be just within Nigeria. Maybe if you're outside the country, you might not you because definitely in the conditions they have already set, they have whitelisted other countries. It's only Nigeria they put there during the conditional access, the conditional review access review they kind of implemented in your organization. It could just be within some country that you're able to access your company's resources. So once you're able to meet all the criteria, all the conditions they kind of specify, you are able to like access your company's resources. But if you don't meet that, there's no way you'll be able to access your company's applications. Okay, can we go to the next one? So we have identity protection. It's very vital to kind of protect your identity. Whatever form of identity you're using, we could use an ID. Let's say, for example, if you're going to your building, definitely you're going to use like an ID card, an object which is your ID card to allow you to access the building of your organization. Excuse me, your organization. So there are some things you need to like configure to for you to ensure identity protection. So you need to like kind of set a particular stretch hold. For example, let's say for example, if you're a user, you cannot log in more than to you cannot log in more than 3 times. Once you log in, you cannot log in wrongly more than 3 times. Once you log in wrongly more than 3 times, you are kind of kicked out, and you have to like go meet your admin to kind of reset your application, to kind of reset your profile, your user before you'll be able to uh, kind of access your organization resources. So the identity protection is kind of saying that you need to configure policy and activity to review your results, and also you need to set sign in risk policy. That's what I said. Sign in risk policy to like medium and above self remediation option. Also, you need to set user risk policy threshold. I say that. And we have like emergency access or break glass administrator account. Okay, so this is just trying to like these are trying to like specify ways of you trying to use protection on your identity. So, for example, if you've signed in more than 3, 4 times, it could easily detect that this user is already at risk. It's going to detect that, oh, you're already at risk. Okay, sorry, once again, I need to look. So it will detect the number of risks you are. It's going to show that. So your identity protection, so we have like a tool that dictates how risky the level of risk you are. Let me say if you log in 3 times wrongly, it's going to show you the level of risk you are. Maybe 3 times, 2 times, 5 times, and all that. It's just an application that shows how risky. Though this is not kind of for you, it's going to be like for your admin, but as a solution architect, you have access to the whole stuff. Hi, Dami, could you move me to the next slide? So, this topic, this slide now is about how to use access review. Sometimes your access needs to be reviewed from time to time. Probably it could be quarterly, yearly, or depending on how depending on how your company or your admin kind of sets that, kind of is your admin that will kind of going to determine that. So your access review is going to help you to report status to your admin and requests sent to users and resource owners, and also kind of remove, for example, there's why access review is very important. Access review is really, really very important. You cannot overemphasize that. For example, there are some companies that some members have left the organization, but you can still see the staff name and all that, their identity and all that, like all the assets they give to them during when they were a staff in that particular company is still there. Normally, what company does is, as you kind of live in a company, you go through the HR, you go through different steps like going through HR to clear you, you go through IT. So it's in the IT they are going to remove your user, your ID, your access totally, like access to the building, access to the resources, to the infrastructure, to the applications and all that. They're going to kind of remove all these accesses to ensure that while you're no longer with them, to ensure that you don't have an access to their applications. So this is why access review is very important. And while reviewing, you can equally confirm membership to keep. Like from the review of from the list you have as you're reviewing, you know the users that are still with you within your organization and users that are not within your organization. And equally, sometimes maybe based on what you need to do, maybe they give you a task at a particular time whereby you need um a higher role and you are given an access. For example, you are given probably you just need a reader role, but based on what you need to do, you were given a contributor role, and which is supposed to be like one week stuff. But if the access is not reviewed, they will forget that, oh, this stuff you're still giving this role, you're not removed from that access which you've been given. So access review kind of help in removing people that are needed, people that it's kind of review who have access to what application and what the person is doing based on your role. The access should be based on your role. You shouldn't have access. This is where the least privilege policy comes in. The access you have should be limited to your role. You shouldn't be given a higher access. Tammy, please could you move to the next slide? Okay, so this is going to talk about identity for application authentication. So for you to be able to like authenticate application, there's something we call registration app. So you have to like register your app. So let's go through the whole process. First of all, so if you want to build an application, we have source, we have target. What application do you want to build? Is it Azure VM? Is it Azure App Service? Is it container instance? Is it AKS? Is it Logic App? So first of all, if you need to determine what you want to build. After determining what you want to do, then we have the target. What target you want to use? Is it any target that support Azure AD authentication or your own application, or Azure Service Key Vault or Azure Storage? So you just pick the target you want. And for example, if you are using Azure VM, you could just pick the target that you want to use. You want to pick Azure. If you want to pick AKS, you could equally, you know that you can use like for example, you want to pick your storage, you know that definitely you use your key vote if you wish to use your key vote and Azure storage and all that. So just pick a target that is comfortable for you to use, and equally it depends on uh, it depend on the source you have picked. You cannot pick AKS and want to use SQL. It doesn't really so it doesn't really work that way. So the source is an Azure resources, then the target support Azure AD authentication. So the target is like the way you want to kind of authenticate, and your authentication still fall back to your Azure your RBAC, the role you have. So this would equally help you. There is no credential rotation or certificate management when you are kind of designing application authentication. Tammy, could you move to the next slide? Hi, Dami, are you here with us? Okay, so we have management identity. You could use system assign management identity, or you could use user assign management identity. So bear in mind that when it's a system assign manage identity, it's just for example, you create a virtual machine. You can give the role of a system role base if you want the virtual machine to be accessed, to access an application or to access something, you this is system based. It's based, the role is for system, it's not for human. For example, we have an inbuilt a role for virtual machine. For all applications, we have an inbuilt rules that you can always apply. Then for human, we have it is called a user assign manage identity. When it is application, we talk about application like your virtual machine, your AKS and all that. If you just want to give it an access so that it performs maybe your Azure function and all that, you want to give it access to perform some stuff for you, you have to use your system manage identity for that. So first of all, in terms of creation, you have to create it as part of Azure resources. And if it is a user managed, you create it as a standalone. While you've created, you need to consider the life cycle. So you share life cycle with your Azure resources, and when it is user managed identity, is independent life cycle. Then sharing access to Azure resources. So if it is system managed, access cannot be shared, and it can only be associated with that single Azure resources. The access you give to your virtual machine, it cannot you can't say that access to be used by an AKS. An AKS access, these are inbuilt. So an AKS access cannot be used by a virtual machine. So this is what they are trying to say. It can only be associated with that single resources. The resources you have, it can only be associated with that. Why a user can be shared. For example, let me say your user your let's let me say for example, if you have a virtual machine and you're giving a contributor role, probably they can equally create another contributor role for another person to use, or probably when you don't need it again, they can kind of remove it from being a contributor role and share that I and kind of move it to another person. So since it's a user base, it can easily be shared. But if it is a system base, it cannot be shared. You can't share as AKS. You can't give a role to AKS, and you want that same role to be shared with a virtual machine. They are different application. It will never going to work. So, and user-based managed IDs it can be shared with more than one resources. For example, I can give you a contributor rule, probably on subscription level. The contributor rule I'm giving you on the subscription level will allow you to access an AKS, it will allow you to access virtual machine, SQL, whatever application that is under that subscription, you can easily access it. Unlike system based, you cannot access it. So let's have a use. These are some of the use cases. Workload that are contained within a single Azure resources. So where you can use system assign manage identities is around workload that is contained within Azure resources. So, for example, I've mentioned a virtual machine. So you can use a system managed for Azure machine. You can use it for SQL. You can use it for AKS and all that. So, why in user assign manage under that table, you can use workload that runs on multiple resources. So, and which can be shared a single identity. So, workload that can run on multiple resources. Let's say, for example, you have Azure VM, you have SQL and all that. You can, no matter the applications, you can equally use that identity, that user they created for you, that profile. You can use it on all of that. But if it's a system is kind of just to that particular system that can use, it cannot be shared with another system. For example, an application that runs on a single virtual machine, so I've already given that a scenario. When you have a virtual machine, the user, you can have. I just wish I could share my screen and show you some of those inbuilt user assigned role. And I know you guys will be familiar with user assign, but system assign, I could have showed you some. You have a lot of inbuilt system assign role that's fall within any application or any like within a resources like VM, SQL, AKS, and all that. Um, Workload where resources are recycled, sorry, frequently, but permission should stay consistent. So these are the use cases are where you can easily use this stuff. So you can use it where on the workload that you recycle frequently, but permission should stay consistent. Okay, can you go to the next slide? Okay, so we have application service principle. So we can see from the diagram, we have Azure AD tenant A, we have application where we have service principle. Then we have tenant B, we have another service principle. Under tenant B, we have subscription one, we have different application. I think this sign could be like Azure function. I don't know. Then we have resources in block. The second one that tenant, this looks like an IoT. Then we have block of resources. So this local representation kind of it's really useful when you don't kind of when your managed identity cannot be used. You can just go to use this application. You can just going to use this. And equally, in a situation whereby you want to use like a secret or a certificate, then you can consider using local this thing, application object in a single tenant. Other useful authentication external application to Azure resources. Could you move to the second slide, to the next slide? So here we're going to talk about best practices for requesting permission. When like when you want to build an application, you need to like you consider your signing process. Is it a token? So your signing should kind of be secured. So when first of all, when registering an application in AD, consider business and security need of admin consent, vice versa. So they're telling you when you're registering your application, you have to consider security and equally consent, user consent. So for example, let's say for example, when you're building an application, so this slide we're talking about permission. So it's very nice to like push like a permission or pop up that's kind of tell the user, let the user give you permission uh, before using your application. For example, whenever you log into to a website and all that, they'll tell you, okay, this website uses a catch or wherever, or they'll align the permission for you. You have to click first before you go ahead. So they're not just allowing you, they didn't hide that from you. They allow you to see it and you kind of specify the some will tell you is it minimum access you want or a whole access. So you could just click on the one what you really kind of want, and it's just seeking for your consent. You need to accept first. You don't need to just go in like that without. They shouldn't hide that from you. You should accept. If you want to go ahead, you should accept. So that's when designing an application. That's requests, security, customer consent should actually user consent should kind of show up here by the person accept first. So and again, you are kind of reminded that you should just ask for permission that you require to implement the app functionality. For example, now imagine you just want to like access. You have an app like a Jumia app or any other app, or let's say you have this multi-factor authentication app by Microsoft, or you have by Google. Then imagine that app is asking for your camera permission. Like it doesn't make sense. So what they're trying to say in this second slide, only ask for permission required for your for implemented app functionality. So there's no way you should accept you should give access to your multi-factor app to access your camera, because it's not like WhatsApp or Instagram that need your camera to snap you. It's not snapping anything. It's just to generate a code for you to use. So that permission shouldn't be. That is why they say only ask for permission required to implement the functionality of your app. Don't just go and ask for broad access. Let the person not just say because the user is accepting your permission. You should specify your permission, and the permission should be based on what your application is for, not a broad permission. So there, and the third sentence is trying to say that when you should just request for a least privilege access. You shouldn't like request for an access whereby imagine this multi-factor authenticator app is not taking pictures, or it's not reading, it's not having access to read through all other applications within your phones and all that. So it just give it a least privilege. Okay, you just need a read access, then you don't need a write access for anything. So the app you're designing should just have a least privilege access. So the last one is apps should gracefully handle scenarios where the user does not grant consent. Okay, for example, you can't say because I refuse you accessing I refuse an app accessing my locations. Yeah, sometimes most of us or some of us want to like um we want to like kind of stop our location because most times when you put on your putting on your location is kind of a bit it's kind of, let me say, it's 80% safe because, for example, if you have issue like you stuck somewhere and people need to track you, it's very important. Or maybe you lost your phone, it's very important to kind of track your phone. But why some of us sometimes don't want to put on our location is, for example, after putting on your location, you went to some particular place. The next thing Google is asking you, how was this place? How was, for example, it's asking you how was Lekki Market, how was ShopRite that you went to. It's just like having access to it's just reading your location, your privacy and all that. So some of us might not just feel comfortable to put on that location, but 80% it's safer. So they are saying that no matter what the user want, if the user decline you from accessing, from giving you the permission to, or giving an application a permission, you shouldn't deny the user. For example, if I deny my Google Authenticator app to if I deny my Google Authenticator app the right to kind of take a picture, take a give access. If I deny my Google app access to my camera, it shouldn't say, oh, because you deny me that access to camera, you cannot access the application until you press as you're allowed before you. So you have to, when you're designing an application as a solution architect in your company, maybe they come to you that, okay, this is what, you're just like an architect. So when they come to like, this is what we want to design, we want to design an application, a mobile app. In that mobile app, we want a situation whereby when a user download that app, we want a situation whereby the user will pop up is a screen where the user will um accept consent to have access to that application, and we want a situation whereby the user can give us access to some of the application within application within the user. Sorry, for example, if I have a phone and we want a situation whereby while you're designing the app, the features we want is, first of all, the first feature is that the user needs to give consent that he wants to use the app. The second one is that we want a situation whereby, and that app will just ask the user the particular permission that the app needs to function perfectly. And they say the third one is that we want the user to give us access, give the app access to be able to function properly, which is a limited, a least privileged access. Your application, for example, mobile, my NTN, I'm using Google Authenticator now. Since I'm using Google Authenticator, I just need it to read. I don't need it to write anything. The list, it should just have that list privilege access. So and then they're not like, okay, in a situation where the user refuses to accept our terms and conditions, to accept some of the stuff, some of the conditions we put in before the user or the public app can function perfectly well. If the user refuses, let us just allow the user to still use this application. This is where the next thing you should remember, the next thing that should come to your mind while you are designing is, okay, you're trying to design request permission for your application. So these are the permissions you need while designing your application. This is, as a solution architect, these are the permission you should think about. And Dami, could you go to the next slide? I'm so sorry, guys. We are meant to close by 6 p.m. I'll surely round up very, very soon. Sorry we started late. We're having some issue. So Azure keywords. So we need like why do we need to use Azure keywords? So it's asking you why do you really need to use Azure keywords? Azure keywords is kind of very important to use. Just imagine that in your organization where you put all your password, is just like some of us, some people they happens to write the password they use in accessing some of the applications. They write it down just within their sticker notes or just reading one note or notepad and all that. That's where you see some people put this thing. And some people equally, when you go to GitHub, when you pull in some of their applications and all that, you're going to see secrets there. They store their secret, like their secret is open and all that. And that is not the best practices. So the best practices is you use Azure Key Votes, or you just use any other votes to kind of store your your keys. Some people will like, okay, if we have a key vote, sometimes it requires someone to authenticate to accept for a consent before it goes on and all that. But the best practices is just you don't need to expose your secret, you don't need to expose your password and all that. Azure Key Vault could kind of do that for you. Azure Key Vault kind of configured like it kind of keep your secret very your sensitive applications and information. Um it keeps it safe for you. For example, if you're saving all this in a sticker note or OneNote or Word and all that, imagine you misplacing your phone, or let me say you're misplacing your laptop. Definitely, if the person was able to kind of is if the person is able to access your laptop, so it's definitely that if you did not report that to your organization, the person can easily will be able to like access you will be able to access your organizational resources. For example, let me say example of the key votes like that we have. Let me say in terms of a mobile phone now is our one password. For some organization, they use something called one password. Sorry, for we that uses phone. I think Android is we have Google password. Yeah, we have Google password where you can store your password. Sometimes it's not easy remembering password and all that. You could even funnily enough, sometimes you could create a password just in the next 10 minutes for you to impute it. Just what you just created, you could just end up forgetting that password. But when you have like password manager, you can easily kind of save your password. So just like password manager, that is um, where we have Azure Key Vault. So as when we have Azure Key Vault, it's kind of centralize. It centralize all your keys, all your secret and all that. It keeps it for you. You don't need to. For example, if your company have Azure Key Vault, all your password and secret, everything is this thing is going to access it. So whatever you are building, all you need to do is to give as Azure Key Vault access so that that application will access Azure Key Vault to retrieve the password that was stored here. So that is it for Azure Key Vault. As the easiest example for Azure Key Vault we that uses phone is password manager for us to store all our password and all that. So an organization that doesn't want to use Azure Key Vault, they have one password. One password stores all the password and secret they have within Azure Key Vault. Okay, can you move to the second next slide? Okay, so now we have like a case study case. This case is about we having like they give to, for example, we have a company called did I put any name here? Okay, Tay Wine Trader. The Tay Wine Trader have like 75 employees, and equally they have a new employee that are coming in, and they want an application. They want to access. They want an application, an SQL database access solution. So they are giving you a scenario now as a solution architect you are. So they're telling you that, okay, for example, we have a company called Tailwind, or let's say Jumia. This Jumia now they already have 75 staff already, and they're trying to add more staff to the 75 staff they have, and they want the application they have is SQS. So they're trying to tell you that try they are trying to tell you to design a solution to them. Okay, please can you move to the last slide? Okay, and please just move back. So let's analyze the to the last. Yeah, thank you. I know that is the end. After this one, before this one, uh-huh. Okay, the case study. Yeah, we just want to. Yeah, after. Yeah, thank you. This is okay. So why on that case study now for the new employer? What are you meant to like give to them? So why you're designing, what should come to your mind is that okay, these new people that are coming in, they need a user, they need an AD. The AD, that's where you create their username, the domain you have, like paul at microsoft.com. They need that. You need to give them a username. So, and you equally need to consider AD Connect, definitely because probably you have some application running in your on-prem environment, and conditional access definitely must be there. For example, where they are logging in from, are they using the company's device? If the conditions you have set in your organization is not met, there's no way they can assess that. So we have multi-factor. Yes, they might be able to assess with their credential. With their credential, they can log in. So after logging in, they need a second factor authentication, whereby a multi-factor authentication, which is just the second one. The second for them to be able to access the application. Probably a code will be sent to their email address, or to if or their phone will ring to authenticate them for them to finally have an access to the environment. Then we have business to business. So in the organization you already are as an solution architect, these new people you're bringing in, do you guys in your organization, do you guys collaborate with other people? If you collaborate with other people, so you should equally consider adding B2B, business to business. And definitely you need to kind of add identity protection. So these are the things why designing, why you are in kind of why you are being told that design for a new employee, for the 75 people, for the new people that are going to be added to this already 75 people you guys are already. These are the solutions you need to give to them. These are the things you need to design. These are the things you need to consider for them to fully be to them to fully have access to your organizational resources. Could you move to the next one? Hi, Dami. Could you move? Okay, so as you're designing it, or they need you to like, okay, put that diagram. First of all, you identify what and what you need. Then you need to really kind of place it where they belong. For example, the marketing partners, you have your Azure AD. So when you're talking of business to business now, you know that anything business to business, you definitely have to invite people because you are collaborating with another organization. Um, then your organization definitely already have like Azure AD already. Then we have conditional access, which we spoke about. You have your multi-factor identity protection and access review. So these are the things you need to put in place. Can you go? We have Azure AD Connect. Definitely, since you have an on-prem resources, you need to equally access. So these are how you're going to draw you're going to design your solution for your customer. Probably you just enter a company and they are telling you that, oh John, please, we want you to design a solution whereby we have like 100 people and we want 50 people to join us more. And so they'll tell you we need 50 people to join us more. So these are the things you need to put you since they say you have 50 people to join you more, you know they are going to create a user. Creating a user now entails you should put in place, you should have in mind MFA, multi-factor, conditional access, user access review, identity protection, and all that. You should bring all these things, you design all these things. You should have all this in mind to design. Next page, please. So this is the completed design. So first of all, you have your person, you have your user. Under the user, you're having a rollback access. That is give access to the user um, the access they need. Least privilege comes in here. Let me see. I can't really see. Then we have service principal and we have app registration. So sometimes for multi-factor authentication, your user need to register their app. Their app will be their phone because you need them to. You need once they access their phone, they should be able to um, once they access they sign in, they should be able to have the second factor, the multi-factor that could probably a call or a test of code to for them to be able to finally authenticate into the application or the resources they want to. We have Azure Active Directory, yeah. Then we have application location. So you consider where are these people going to look where are they located so that you consider where your application is being um connected from. Then we have manage the identity, definitely private link and SQL database. You know SQL database was in the picture in the first place. So that is how your design is just going to come out. Next slide, please. So we have some links for you guys to read more about this topic, and this is the slide for more resources. Can you go to the next page? No, next page, please. Oh, yeah. So we've come to the end of our presentation today. Once again, guys, I'm so sorry for starting this class late because of some technical issues. Promise to come to ensure that everything next time I present, everything is put in place and no
No
technical
worries,
issue.
Catherine.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for today, and thank you for guiding us through the designing of authentication and authorization app. I don't think there are any questions, but if you have any questions regarding how to build um authentication authorization apps, you can please leave it in the comment section. I think it was a very enlightening session. We learned about various ways to protect our identity and of course protect your resources as a whole on Azure. So it was a great session. Thank you so much, Catherine. I don't think we have any questions, so I think we can end the session here. And we are so sorry for starting late. but we did a 1 hour at least. Thank you so much for staying with us till the very end. So this is the end of the session for today, and make sure to join the next session. It's going to be a nice one, a great one too as well. All right, thank you, and bye.
Oh my